Hello, everyone, and welcome back to some more monthly movie mini reviews. We're still in February.
The movies of which we speak are still.
The movies we're speaking about are the movie. We are in May. Day. When you see this, it's probably going to be June or July. But we're talking about movies we saw in February.
Yes.
So Kelly's hosting the meeting this week, our little Zoom call here. So hopefully we don't have to work within the 40-minute time limit, because I'm a cheapskate and don't pay for Zoom.
I don't
Neither does Kelly.
I get so, to my company.
There you go.
Because I am a webinar hostess, and thusly I have to have, a paid webinar account. So, do you want to begin, or would you like me to begin?
Oh, I'll begin. The Amazing Spider-Man.
Talk about this next. Sam Raimi's Spider-Man.
No, The Amazing Spider-Man. Have you seen the Amazing Spider-Man movies?
This sounds like Andrew Garfield.
The Andrew Garfield ones. Yeah.
I mean,
because I already did full video reviews for both the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
And I saw them, and I agree with everything that you said.
Okay.
In that, why is a 17-year-old in charge of your company? And like,
I mean, that's funny, but it's not really the problem with the movie.
Sure, but I hang on to that one because I'm like, I just did not have that wardrobe at 17. Like, I mean, I don't have that wardrobe now. Let's be real, but it's just I also have problems with Emma Stone, which we all know, and for some ass reason I have it, but whatever. I didn't dislike them. I just didn't gravitate towards our characters in this one. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. I'll try to remember to put cards on this video so you can go back and watch my Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2 videos. They're full video. They're like a half an hour long. I thought both movies were genuinely bad.
Oh, okay.
So that's where here are what I wrote on Twitter. Amazing Spider-Man, absolute mess of a film. Plot lines that go nowhere, characters that are completely dropped, music that doesn't fit the scene, weirdly jarring editing. Nothing wrong with the cast, but this is not well conceived or constructed movie. Damn shame. What I said about Amazing Spider-Man 2, better than the first, but not by much. Some fun action, editing is better, music suits the scenes more. Spider-Man's quipping is fun and not bullying. Peter still sucks as a person, and Stacy's death / the secret of Peter's parents contribute nothing.
Though, spoiler alert.
These movies are 10 years old, but I'm sorry, yes, spoilers.
No, the newest one, the No Way Home.
Mm-hmm.
The payoff to Gwen Stacy's death
is very good. Yes,
is very good.
I like Andrew Garfield, great actor.
And that's the thing.
Could be a wonderful Peter Parker is a wonderful Peter Parker / Spider-Man in No Way Home. Yes! It's just the character as written in the Amazing Spider-Man movies sucks.
I was thinking that, like, when he came back in and like he's in the No Way Home, I was like, I'll follow you now. Like, there was some deep, like, when he caught her and he like looks at her and like there's that moment, I was like, he did it. He can move. Like, there was a part of me that I'm like, he's ready to do whatever he's ready to do, and maybe he'll become a better person, better Spider-Man. Like,
yeah.
Not
I like that. He's like, "Are you okay?" And what's her face? Mary Jane is looking at him, like, "Yeah, are you okay?"
You okay?
Like,
yeah, yes. That was and it was
great.
It was a great payoff that I was like, okay, but I think. I wish that I could take different parts of all of the Spider-Mans and be like, okay, this character from this one was better than this character from this one, and then
maybe one of the movies
Grace never has to come in at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen Multiverse of Madness yet, but maybe that movie or a subsequent movie can just collapse all the universes into one, and we get a brand new Spider-Man who's the best parts of all of them. You know.
Hey, I have seen it, but we're not in that month.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see it this week because it's finally
with a double feature.
Well, it double featured last week with Uncharted, which I think we talked about last time, and I'm like, I've already seen that. I didn't like it. This week, it's double featuring with something other than itself and not Uncharted, but it's double featuring with probably the movie currently in release that I'm least interested in seeing.
The
Bob's
North
Burgers. No, Viking chopping guys' heads off. Sure, the Bob's Burgers movie. I would rather see Sonic 2 or Morbius. I have absolutely no interest in Bob's Burgers. I've not liked anything I've seen from the show.
So Jeremy's pulling 12-hour days because his show leaves next weekend. So I will not be seeing him for a week. And it's really sad because Bob's Burgers came out this weekend. And I even asked him, I was like, do you think that one night we can go see Bob's Burgers? And he like looks at the calendar and looks at the clock and he's like, because he's not getting home until like 7 or 7:30. And let me tell you, after like that full day, like going to the movies, like it's done because he's also, you know, in carpentry. So it's not as if he's, you know, just sitting around all day. So we have to wait until maybe next weekend.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean, I'm going to go into it with an open mind. I mean, I don't like South Park, but I liked the South Park movie, so it's possible I may love the Bob's Burgers movie. I'm just not. I have zero interest in actually seeing it. So
I can't wait. I can't wait to talk about it.
I hope I like it. I really. I'm not like I'm gonna hate it. No, I'm gonna like it. No. I hope I like it. I just have no interest in it because I've not liked anything I've seen of Bob's Burgers.
Gene is my favorite. I love everything about Gene and Louise.
Is that the boy?
The boy. And Louise is the youngest with the rabbit ears, and that one's Jeremy's favorite.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, well I can't wait to talk to you about it. All right, so anyway, cool. Spider-Man.
So I saw Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2. I thought they were bad. I did full videos on them.
Go watch them.
So there we go. So let's move on to, I also saw Uncharted, but we already talked about that last time, so I didn't like it. Well, I mean, I didn't hate it. I just thought it was kind of lame.
This is my favorite video we've ever done.
Okay, next, Spider-Man No Way Home, which we talked about, I think when you saw it in December or something like that.
Because by the time we did December movies, you had already seen it. So.
Yeah, right. I had. So go watch that preview. So we're just zooming through the list here. Okay, so next on my list, we're already to February 26th, so we're doing well.
Dang.
All right.
Don't forget, I have 3 to talk about.
Right. So we'll just alter back and forth. So I watched Death on the Nile. Not the new one with the Kenneth Branagh one, not that one. I watched the one from 1978.
Go.
It's, for those who don't know, it's a Poirot murder mystery. So you know what you're getting. Unless you didn't know that Angela Lansbury is in this film, and she is absolutely delightful.
Of course,
because she's Angela Lansbury. She's amazing. There's actually you'd recognize a ton of the cast in this film. It's I'm not gonna pull it up off the top of my head, but let me.
What year?
78. So Death on the Nile. No, it's not with a K. Let's see. Mia Farrow's in it. Maggie Smith is in it somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love her.
Let's see. Mia Farrow's in it. Simon Corkindale. Betty Davis is in it. Olivia Hussey's in it. George Kennedy. Angela Lansbury, of course. David Niven. Maggie Smith, I already said. So yeah, just a murder's row of great talent.
Love David Niven.
you know the Agatha Christie stories are like really old, so I'm like kind of like, do we need a spoiler warning? I mean, it does. I imagine some of you've not read the stories, or not seen some of the old films, and it's a
And there is the
newer
new
movie,
one.
so I'll err on the side of caution when it comes to spoilers. But what I found really interesting about this particular Poirot, I've read, I think, three of the Agatha Christie Poirot stories. One was definitely Murder on the Orient Express. I remember clearly reading that one. I thought one of the other ones was Death on the Nile, but either this is very different from the book, or I forgot the book, or that's actually not one of the ones I read. So I had no idea what was going on in this film, or it wasn't hard to follow. I was like, okay, I'm not
Right.
remembering. It's kind of like,
in, you thought you knew, but you did not.
yeah, it's kind of like, I remember reading A Wrinkle in Time when I was a kid, and I saw the trailer for the new movie. I'm like, do I not remember anything about the book, or is this just really different? I still want to see that film to see if anything in that movie jogs my memory about the. Of course, I remember reading Bridge to Terabithia too, and that had a movie come out like 15 years ago, and I never bothered watching that either. Although it did look similar to the what I remember reading.
The thing is, because I remember reading Bridge to Terabithia, I never read Wrinkle in Time.
Mm-hmm.
Bridge to Terabithia definitely read, but I went through that sad tale at the age that I needed to go through it. And then once the movie came out, I was like, you know what? I'm good. I've already dealt with that tragedy. We're fine.
We're just going to lock that in a little box.
I'm like, you know, for a kid who hasn't read it, or a kid, like, you know, just like My Girl was the defining, like, this, what happens when your friend dies and you have to deal with losing a friend at a young age. You know, Bridge to Terabithia maybe is that for another generation, but like, I had My Girl and the book Bridge to Terabithia, I was good.
It's like, yeah, I've got all I need to work through my own stuff. I'm good, thanks.
I now have a lifelong fear of bees. It's great.
What doesn't, you know, I have no fear of bees, but probably because the bee has never bothered to sting me.
I've been
Unlike
stung
you've been stung several times in the foot, in the throat. Bees hate you. On the other hand, I really don't like wasps. Well, I've been smacked by wasps before, and it hurts. So it hurts. Bees, on the other hand, I'll go up to a big flower bush and look at the bees. You know.
Well, I love bees because of what they are, obviously, and what they do. Mm-hmm. And you just have to remember, it stings. That's about it. It's not like a pleasant experience to get stung, but it's because every time I got stung, I just was like, ow.
Well, I mean, every time you got stung, I think you were in the single digit ages, and we all tend to, you know, when you get hurt and you're 7, you go, ah, you know, because that's just how you react.
Yeah. Oh well.
Unless you don't, I don't. So anyway, Death on the Nile. It's Poirot. You know what it is. What I found really interesting is, I'm going to say this as general as I can without spoiling anything. What I found particularly interesting about the structure of the mystery itself is it is almost the exact opposite of Murder on the Orient Express. Because what actually, you know, who the murderer is in Murder on the Orient Express, they almost do the exact opposite of that with Death on the Nile. I don't recall the book, but it almost feels like Christie was trying to do something completely different and ended up doing like the exact polar opposite.
Do you know in canon, like, did it come out that way? Like, did she write?
I believe Death on the Nile comes. I don't know if it's like exactly the next one, but I'm pretty sure Death on the Nile came after Murder on the Orient Express. I can probably look that up real quick. Let's see. Let's see if my Google foo is on point. And I don't even use Google.
Are you a Bing person?
Am I what?
A Bing?
No. I just like Yahoo is my front page.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, you're the one.
Poirot. Let's see. I should probably look up Poirot rather than Christie, but
Oh yeah,
whatever.
because she has several that aren't. But I
Well,
don't know
yeah,
how
she
to
does Miss
spell
Marple and
Poirot. I don't know how to spell it. There's a T in it.
Poirot.
Oh, I still don't have today's Wordle. It's freaking me out. I don't know what it is, man. I'm gonna have to deal with that later.
Let's see. D. Major novels. Hercule Poirot and literature. Let's see. All right. Orient. There's Orient Express, which was 1934, and Death on the Nile was 1937. So yeah, so there were a couple. Looks like a couple short stories and two more or three, four. So there were a bunch of stories between the two.
But none of
Damn, she
him.
was prolific.
But not his stories, just other.
Oh no, these are Poirot. These are
okay.
all the Poirot series stuff. A lot of them were short stories that were published in like magazines and such. Some were in books, but yeah. So Murder in the Orient Express was 34, and Death on the Nile was 37. So
Good to know.
So anyway, it's a fun, charming movie with a lot of the older generations of actors. If you're into older film, that you'll enjoy. So yeah, I enjoyed it. And
have you seen the new one?
I've not seen either of the Kenneth Branagh films. I'd like to check them out. Despite Kenneth Branagh casting people who've turned out to be not great people, which is unfortunate.
It is unfortunate. The movie was in the can.
Yeah. And
I know that, and it sucks, but yeah.
It's one of the reasons why Kelly and I were talking about the voting before we started recording, and I'm in California. We have the primary June 7th, and I got my in California we get our ballots like a month early. I usually wait until the last week before I submit my vote ballot thing, because I'm kind of waiting for the shoe to drop on any candidate that I may be voting for. Because I don't want to, vote for candidate X and submit my ballot, and then like 3 weeks later, before and on like June 3rd, it drops that they're, drop kicking kittens or something like that,
Right.
So yeah. Anyway, Death on the Nile. It's an old movie. If you have no patience for how old movies are, well, I mean, it's not that old. It's 1978, but it's definitely shot and acted and paced of the time, and some modern audiences may not have the patience for that.
Yeah,
understandable. But if you're happy with cinema of the era of the late 70s, early 80s, if that's not a problem, then yeah, I found it a perfectly charming movie and a pretty decent mystery too. I figured it out, but not really early enough to genuinely pat myself on the back. I figured it out at the point where probably a bunch of people figure it out. So anyway, so what else did you watch in the delightful month of February? The month of love, the month of Andrew's birthday.
Yes.
Barely, because my birthday's on the 1st.
This is true, but it's still your birthday month. Claim the whole damn thing. Why not?
Yeah.
I saw Children of a Lesser God. I'm like, what did I see?
What is that?
Children of a Lesser God.
Is that new?
Not even close.
Okay.
So this is the movie which Marlee Matlin won her Oscar.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And William Hurt is in it, and maybe someone else, but I can't recall. I'm sure that like those people that you kind of go,
Well, it's gonna
yeah,
be
I
80s,
recognize
I'm
him.
guessing, if we're talking about Hurt, or maybe 70s. Okay, 86.
I was gonna say I think it's 80s. So Children of a Lesser God. Let's discuss it really quick because
Speech
that's
teacher at a school for
what
the
we're
deaf
doing.
falls in love with the janitor, a deaf woman speechless by choice. Huh.
Yes. So, and Marley Matlin is said janitor who is speechless by choice, and she
Is
is,
this a play?
yes.
Okay.
So
Piper Laurie.
that's who's in it. I'm like, there's someone else in it. Who's in it? Yes, we love Piper Laurie. They're all gonna laugh at you. Okay, so the point is, which by the way, so Jeremy says this has nothing to do, this has everything to do with Piper Laurie. So Jeremy does the all gonna laugh at you thing, and the whole they're all gonna laugh at you, but his isn't Piper Laurie. His is some Adam Sandler, it's either Waterboy or something that I haven't seen. And I looked at him when he was, and I said,
He's impersonating someone doing an impression.
and I
Or
said,
doing a parody of? Okay.
yeah. And I was like, honey, do you know what that's from? And he was like, oh, yeah, it's the Waterboy. And I was like,
Oh, God.
no, that's Carrie. That's Piper Laurie and Sissy Spacek. And he was like, oh, I'm doing it from this. And I was like, we're gonna need to back up here.
You culturally out of touch swine.
Oh, dude. The point
I mean,
is,
I'm not saying Children of a Lesser God. I mean, I'd heard the title, but it's like, boy, I'm bringing up nothing on this. But I mean, come on, Carrie.
so here's the reason why I chose to watch Children of a Lesser God. And this was on an airplane. And
that's a good read because I was sitting there and it was in front of me.
No. Here's why. I wanted to watch Coda, which ended up winning Best Picture at the Oscars. I wanted to watch Coda. I'm a huge Marley Matlin fan, and I watched a lot of stuff that she's in. I'm a huge sign language fan. You would think that I have learned it by now, but I haven't, because I watched the entire Switched at Birth series, which I loved, and I just think it's the most beautiful language, and I have to learn it. Point is I was like, I want to go watch Children of the Lesser God first before I watch Coda, because I just want to see Marley Matlin's award-winning performance, and I would like to see the difference in how they attack. Maybe not the best choice of words, but how they tackle. Yeah, that's a better.
Still an aggressive term, but I probably a bit more apropos.
We do have someone who is deaf. Marley Matlin is deaf. She's not just playing it. She is a wonderful deaf actress, and how they, because that's kind of in the 80s. I don't know many movies, or even before that, where how much deaf representation there was.
Shit, how much is there now?
So the point is, and I've probably taken in all
more. There's more, but
there's more. So I watched it. It's not great. It's not bad. She's fantastic. William Hurt is an awkward presence. I don't know what it is about him, but he's a
choice, or
I don't know. There's something about William Hurt specifically that I'm like, ooh, there's something about him that's just kind of like he I feel like maybe he's, I don't know. I don't like it. Anyways, the point is that in this movie, the things that I didn't like about it is their love story, which is the movie. But it's like, I'm not convinced of their love.
That's a pretty big stumbling block if that's a main conceit of the plot.
Well, here's the thing. I know that this is going to sound boring to some people. My other and I have never had a fight. Less one. And it wasn't even, it was just, I was upset at him for something that he did. And I went into my, which is the girl thing. I was like, no, it's fine. And then he went to the, fine, then I'm not going to talk to you either. And then about an hour later, there was tears. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. And he's like, I was such an ass. And I'm like, you don't need, and we have so much fun in a wonderful relationship, not trying to be all like, oh, look at me. Love and relationships don't have to be volatile to be good or even exciting. And this movie,
comfortably boring.
These two are just at it. He wants to get her to speak, and she's like, I don't want to speak. And then she's like, why don't you listen to your music? And he's like, I can't enjoy music anymore because my girlfriend's deaf. And I'm like, Jesus.
What? I got lost somewhere in the path from A to B there, buddy.
They're constantly at odds. They're like, anger. And like, this is the thing. This is a trope in a lot of movies that like, the more angry you are at the other person, the more you truly love them. I find that very hard to believe. So
I actually get in the sense that you two don't really like each other very much.
Like, I'm like, wow. So I wasn't on board for the love story, and that's what the movie is the love story. But I also believe that there was a time when, that people found love faster in movies than I think they do now. Like, I don't know. I feel, or maybe I've just become, but like, I feel like there are some movies I watch the love story and it's like, boom, they're in love. And like,
I'm in love with you now.
I'm in love with you now, and I will change my whole life for you. And I'm like, there seemed to be no lead up to this, but okay, I'll go with it. But here's what I really want to talk about Children of a Lesser God, is how they deal with deafness. So they don't use subtitles. They, as in that movie, subtitles were not used. William Hurt said her lines as if he was reading a book. So Marley's character would get very, angry, because of course they spent the movie angry at each other. But it was a love story. And so she's getting angry at him and speaking, and he's sitting there and going, you want me to pack up my stuff and leave? Well, I don't want to leave. And then she'd be like, da, 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 da. And he was like, you want me to, and it was weird, because I'm like, I don't
the same thing they do with Han and Chewbacca.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Chewbacca goes, he's like, that's right, Chewie. C-3PO is a dumbass.
Yes, but it kind of fits more there. How, you have seen Ocean's 11, one of my favorite.
Wait, what, the George Clooney one?
Yes.
Okay.
The one of my just guilty pleasures. I could watch it at any time. The little Chinese guy. Oh, that's Gene. I'll have to get that later.
The acrobat dude?
Yes, the Grease Man. The Grease Man does not speak in English at all throughout the entire, well, except for the fuck you been, which is the best line of any movie. But he doesn't speak in English.
Okay.
And they respond to him in English. They listen to him, but they don't repeat him. They just go, oh no, that'll never work. But like, it's so funny. It's always funny to me because they don't subtitle him. He speaks in his language and they all understand it, and they just go on with their days. And I find that that's fun because you kind of know what he's saying, or if you don't, you're like, okay.
There's an art to not subtitling a form of communication that a portion of your audience is not going to understand or comprehend.
Right.
And there's good ways and bad. There's very workable ways to do it, and then there are ways that are just really stilted and awkward.
Yeah, and this one was a stilted and awkward because he would say it, and and I read it, and just like he was reading, like, you want me to do this? Well, and now you want me to do this? Well,
like, so just use subtitles at that point.
And I was like, or bring his outburst, like, why would you want me to leave? Like, I don't, or whatever. It's just, I felt there were a better way to do that. And then of course I saw Coda after that, and I was like, okay, that's a better way to do it. Which we'll talk about that when I.
Of course, the nice thing about ASL is it's pretty expressive. I mean, if someone signs this, I'm not leaving. You want me to leave? Or it's a lot of ASL is pretty clear. At least what signing people sign at me. I've never never had a trouble interpreting what people are signing at me.
Yeah.
It's always F you and go away and
I see you.
Except
yeah,
this
so
one
anyways.
guy in a department store who was finger spelling polo at me. And I was so excited because because I can finger spell slowly. And I was excited because my God, the first time I get to actually use my very limited ASL knowledge. I'm looking at him, he's signing polo. I'm like, what is polo?
You're like,
And
Marco?
and he throws up his hands and walks away. I'm like,
Was he looking for a shirt? Were you in a department store?
I was in a department store. Maybe he thought I worked there and was looking for a shirt or perfume. I think was a polo brand
That's
perfume.
so sad.
But he got frustrated, literally threw up his arms and walked away. I'm like, darn, I feel bad now.
See, and this is because I say thank you like this all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how I say, thank you. And I said it to someone the other day because I work when I work at the theater and I have my mask on and I just, just so they can see, and I had someone go, oh, and I was like, well, fudge. I was like,
no, that's literally the only one I know.
Super. It's like if I said lo siento to someone and they're like, oh, Spanish. And I'm like, no, lo siento is not Spanish. Lo siento is colloquially accepted as I'm sorry. Like you don't need like ciao, you know Italian. No.
The problem with knowing bits and pieces, I mean, I know, like, I can finger spell, and I know a couple other signs, but that's not even conversational. Well, I mean,
yeah.
If you can finger spell, it's conversational. It's just really slow.
It's really slow conversation. But yeah, I definitely want to. Jeremy and I need to learn because that's our retirement plan.
Yeah, but I watch, foreign movies and I live in Southern California. So I have an okay vocabulary in Spanish and Japanese. And I'm not conversational in either, but right. I know a little bit of I know the syntax and I know the sentence structure and I know, it's small vocabulary, not conversational, but I know enough that when I hear someone speaking a language I know a little bit of, I can't help but eavesdrop because I'll be like, ooh, it's a word I know. Like the woman and her daughter who live in the apartment over there, they speak Japanese. And every time they're outside or someone comes to visit and I hear them talking about something, I'm like, ooh, she's talking about that flower and how pretty it was. And her mom says, yes, it's neat, isn't it? I'm like, ha, I should stop eavesdropping. Yeah. Stop eavesdropping. But I can't, I'm like outside doing, calf raises on that concrete set of stairs outside. And they come home and start walking into the apartment and talking to each other. And my ear just, whoop. And I'm like, no, bad.
Yeah. You got your Amazon delivery, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay, good.
I talked about this on the podcast last night, but turns out that, is it on camera? No, it's in a box over there, but I can move the camera. See that box over there?
Oh yeah, I can.
My Wii's in the box. My Wii is dysfunctional. The AV port on the back is dying, so I can't. So what I was buying was move
that camera again. I've never gotten to see the side table put together.
Yeah, there it is. You can see it there. I forgot to call you. This was much easier to put together than this side table. That is the most difficult thing I have ever tried to put together. It was hard. I managed to do it, but oh my God, I had to buy special tools for this one. That was really tough to put together.
Oh man.
It was one of those, it feels like one of those puzzles that are like blocks that you have to stack in just the right way to get into a cube or a pyramid or something like that. And it feels like you need a second person to like hold pieces to, and then
sure, because the top goes like that. You might need someone to kind of, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I had to like prop it up against something and get the top to get it to line up with the screws. Oh god, it was one of those things where I'm like, man, I need like 2 other people here to just hold this damn thing up so that I could get in there and screw it together. Oh my god, it was tough. And I accidentally screwed the top on backwards the first time, so I had to take it apart. And I'm like, oh well, shoot, that's not right.
All right.
But anyway, but yeah, it's true. Anyway, so my Wii has bucked the kick it, which is a shame because when I gave you my GameCube to play Animal Crossing, I was like, yeah, you know, the Wii is backwards compatible with the GameCube, so I'll just give my sister my GameCube and I can still play my GameCube games. Well, now if the Wii dies, I can use my Wii U to play Wii games, but I need the Wii to play GameCube games.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
So I took it to a Nintendo. I mean, this thing's 15, 16 years old now. So I took it to a local repair shop, and they're like, yeah, you need to go out to Chula Vista where they can actually where they're equipped to do soldering. I'm like, for Christ's sake. So I drive out to Chula Vista, which is like 12 miles. And it's $150 to repair it. I'm like, for the labor, if they needed to actually, if it was just a matter of resoldering the thing to the board, $150. If they needed a new part, it'd be like another 30. And I'm like, I could just buy another Wii. Yeah. So I did. So I got a refurbished Wii from Walmart without any cable. I don't need I have the power brick and the cables and everything else. It's just the actual console for $70, which is more money than I want to spend, but you know, sometimes old hardware breaks. And so the thing I bought from Amazon, what my sister was referencing, was a signal converter to HDMI.
Oh, okay.
Because there's a long story behind it, but I need to convert to HDMI so that I can stream games from the Wii console. And I wasn't getting a signal, so I had to buy so I bought like 3 different HDMI converters and none of them working. So I had to go back and forth with all my cables and the TV and the tube TV I have in my bedroom. And I narrowed it down. I'm like, shoot, it's not the cables, it's not the display, it's the console. The port on the back is dying. What's interesting is the composite signal seems to be working most of the time. It's the component signal that's just not outputting right. So, well, hopefully the replacement Wii will fix the problem. I can just move over all the saves with an SD card, not a big deal. And what I can try to do is open my old one and see if there's anything noticeably wrong, like, you know, cleaning leads, or if there is a solder joint break, I can fix that if that's the only problem. But I mean, if the trace on the board is broken or something like that, there's really nothing I can do about it. But we'll see. Anyway, anything more to say on
Children of a Lesser God?
Children of a Lesser God.
I love Marley Matlin.
There you go.
There we go.
Okay. So I watched